Our old friend Dwarf Dongsucker, Marco Stunt. Rip. Oh my God. They brought him back to wrestle Jungle Jackoff because of their history together when it was Jurassic Express, a boy and his dinosaur and a smaller boy, or whatever their tagline was. And this highlights the differences, the reasons. WWE gives them John Cena. AEW gives them Dwarf Dongsucker. And it's not like that this was years ago they were just starting up. There was never an excuse for using this fucking freak show bullshit. Might as well have had a trained chimpanzee. But even in the first year, there was no excuse for it, and it gave a negative perception of that company to a lot of people. A lot of people may forget now that the biggest audience they ever did for AEW Dynamite was the first show they were on. The very first night, first show they telecast. And a lot of people tuned in and saw some amateur hour bullshit and didn't come back. And or because this amateur hour bullshit, whether it be Marco Stunt or Jelly Nutella or to this day our little puppy Pockets, most people that might have sampled this looked at it, besides the original audience that knew what they were getting. They looked at it and they said, what the fuck? Is this a parody of WWE, or is this supposed to be some kind of kids show? Or is it they had a legless man on their first pay-per-view in a battle royal. Anything that was the indie darling or the hot thing in rec centers across America, from Hickory, North Carolina to goddamn Ottumwa, Iowa, because they were all friends, because they all worked the same shows, because these modern mark promoters fly people in from all over the fucking country to be on their shows because they have a name on the internet. That's what they presented. And as a result, they got the perception as we've seen. They haven't increased the audience, they've decreased it. Because some of the people that were willing to give the amateur hour a shot, it's certainly not been a low rent in terms of expenditure, but AEW has had, and this is not a compliment, an indie look, a low budget look, a fucking outlaw feel, an amateurish, parody-ish, tongue-in-cheek element to some of this programming since they've been on the air. And Marco Stunt was one of the poster boys of that, and they've learned nothing. Besides this indie bubble level of fan that wants this preposterous shit. That's why they haven't grown, because they had items like this, the Marco Stunt or whatever, on the program, and
blackout. I'm talking about this like it would legitimately happen from their end. They may want you to black out the LLC name because it's not
from the ashes and challenging Vince McMahon's dominance in the wrestling landscape. I was, to say the least, pessimistic and actually outright, horseshit, at the thought that Tony Khan was going to book it and that these outlaw morons that he was dealing with were going to be able to fucking operate it. And my opinion has not changed, and many of those roosters have come home to roost. And other people, I was only the only one that was honest about it. Some people probably called bullshit at the beginning, but nobody cared what they said. Other people didn't call bullshit at the beginning because they wanted to take some of Tony's dad's money. And then when they finished with that, then they called bullshit.
Just give me a 10-year contract and some Grey Goose. I'll say great things about you.
Don't be, none of you people out there, in or out of the business, be grumpy at me because my opinion and my commentary has not changed, and many of the things that I've said have turned out to be valid because Tony can't book and these assholes can't run a goddamn national wrestling company. And that's just the way, and this is an example of it, putting their friends who amount to trained chimpanzees, Marco Stunt and Orange Cassidy, on a program that's expected to be competing with the goddamn biggest multi-billion-dollar conglomeration of fucking wrestling and fighting and fussing and feuding that's ever been, and they counter-program with shit like that. There you go.
Oh, nice return from Marco Stunt.
That's why I stayed home.